Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Wednesday Wisdom Object Talk Lives. My name is Lisa. I am the Senior Learning Mentor at the Jewish Museum, and we're today. The object that I selected today is one of over 40,000 objects in the Jewish Museum London's designated collection that showcases Jewish life and history. Our programs exist to preserve the unique and diverse voices of Jewish communities and explore connections between faiths and cultures. So our theme this week is Rosh Chodesh, and the object I have selected is a card, one in a set of 11 character cards that we have in our collection. So I'm going to share my screen now so you can see this object, and I'm curious if anybody is going to look at the symbols to have a guess as to why I've picked this card. So I'll share my screen now. Okay. So we are looking at this beautiful card, which dates to 1908. And it depicts a woman dressed in vibrant reds, oranges, and yellows. She is holding a blue flower in her left hand and a gold staff topped with a crescent moon in her right hand. She's wearing a red cape, a white turban-style head covering with red and yellow feathers, and tiny pointed shoes. You can see a bit closer up in detail there of the woman's face and her headdress and the flower and the staff with the moon on it as well. So we don't know much about this card. However, the symbolism of a woman holding a staff depicting a crescent moon is what links to our theme of Rosh Chodesh. We can find out why together. So Rosh Chodesh means head of the month. It's a minor festival that marks the first day of every Hebrew month of the year. And before we speak any further about Rosh Chodesh, it's important to understand a little bit about the Hebrew calendar. So the Hebrew calendar was established in the book of Exodus. Before the Jewish people left Egypt, God told Moses and Aaron that on the first day of the month of Nisan, this Chodesh, new moon or month, shall be to you the head of months. So that means that the month of Nisan, so usually around March or April in the English calendar, is the first month in the Hebrew calendar. And this begins the most peculiar thing about the Hebrew calendar, that although the first month in the calendar is Nisan in the spring, the year actually begins and changes at Rosh Hashanah, the first day of the month of Tishrei, which is in the autumn, usually around September or October. And in the Torah, actually, Rosh Hashanah is referred to as the first day of the seventh month. So while Nisan in the spring is the first month of the year, the actual year changes in the seventh month with the month of Tishrei at Rosh Hashanah. So the new month begins with the appearance of the new moon. It's important in Judaism to know when the new month begins in order to celebrate the festivals on their correct dates according to the Torah. In order for the new month to begin, it was believed that the new moon needed to be witnessed by more than one person to recognize how God had to point out the new moon to Moses and Aaron in the book of Exodus. During antiquity, the Sanhedrin, the Jewish court, would announce the start of a new month after hearing that two reliable witnesses had seen the new moon. Once the message had come in that the new moon had been seen, the word then had to be spread throughout Israel and Babylonia. This was done by lighting bonfires on the hilltops as a way to send the message across long distances. So one person would light a bonfire on a hilltop. That would be the signal to the second person, who would then light a bonfire on their hilltop, which would signal to the third person. And this continued from Israel to Babylon. This method lasted until the mid-5th century CE, after which a fixed calendar was set. So there was no longer a need for witnesses or messengers. The Jewish calendar follows both lunar and solar cycles. It has 12 months in a regular year and 13 months in leap years. Half of the months have 30 days and half have 29 days. This is because the entire cycle of the moon takes around 29 and a half days. But as a month needs to be made of complete days, they're sometimes 29 and sometimes 30 days long. So now that we have a bit more of an overview about the Hebrew calendar, let's discuss Rosh Chodesh in a bit more detail. So, like all other Jewish festivals, Rosh Chodesh begins at sundown of the previous day. If the previous month was 29 days long, then Rosh Chodesh is celebrated on the first day of the new month. However, if the previous month was 30 days long, then Rosh Chodesh is celebrated on both the last day of the old month and the first day of the new month. In contemporary practice, Rosh Chodesh celebrations begin on the Saturday, on the Shabbat, before the new month. People might wish each other a Chodesh Tov, which means essentially to have a good month. And the word Chodesh comes from the root Chadash in Hebrew, which means new. Special prayers are usually added to the service, including the Bikat HaChodesh after the Torah reading, and extra paragraphs are added to the Amidah and to the Grace After Meals prayers, among other additions as well. These additions to the service and to daily prayers allow people to think about their hopes and goals for the month to come. So, why have I selected this card of a woman holding a crescent moon as the subject for this talk? Well, traditionally, Rosh Chodesh is considered as being a special festival for women. And there's a few different reasons to this, which include, but aren't limited to, a story from the Midrash that tells us that this was because during the incident of the golden calf in the book of Exodus, the women refused to give up their jewelry to the men who were building the golden calf. So, as a reward for their righteousness, the women were given an extra holy day each month, and they did not have to do any work on Rosh Chodesh. Some women also might feel connected to Rosh Chodesh because of the connection of the lunar cycle to a woman's menstrual cycle as well. Today, Jewish women from many different denominations of Judaism form Rosh Chodesh groups, which meet monthly on the date of the festival. At these gatherings, women would gather together for a variety of activities that might include prayer, sharing a meal together, studying Torah, having discussions, social activism, or anything that they choose. However, the celebration of Rosh Chodesh, of course, is not limited at all to women, and all people are welcome to celebrate the arrival of the new moon, the arrival of the new month, and the rhythm of the Jewish calendar. And just as the moon comes and goes each month, Rosh Chodesh allows us the opportunity to start again, not just once a year, but actually every month. So this concludes my object talk for today. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to join us next week on Wednesday, the 26th of August at 12 noon, when my colleague Eliana will be delivering an object talk on the theme of laughter. So thank you once again, and see you next time.